Yeah. It's the 12 Rounds podcast. What up? It's your host, MAG, in the place to be. And today,
what?
I got my boy, Ready Starr, in the building.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. What's cracking, my man?
Oh, man. Hey, whenever you're hitting those buttons, you hit the duck button, and I start looking for my phone because that's my ringtone. I'm like, oh shit.
You gotta go through all the sounds, man, to make it feel right.
I love it.
But the duck button, it reminds me of the Paulo Francisco comedy where he's talking about being in the strip club. He's all, come out, you duck. Show yourself, duck. But yeah, man. Bro, we go way back, man. Way back. And you are one of the very few people that I can say that we've met like organically, meaning like, well, to me, I mean like nobody introduced us. Like we just like kind of fell in the same place and like doing the same thing at the same time. And freaking, to me, that's a cool deal, man, because I mean, yeah, man, it's one of those things where you can't, what do you call it?
You can't fake that, right?
Yeah, you can't fake that.
I think the reality of it is like what you're saying, dude. I mean, we were doing what we're supposed to be doing at the right time, right? And and I mean, our paths have crossed quite a bit, right? It's funny that this many years later we're still grinding, right? For real, dude. Yeah, that's there's a lot of people come and gone. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing your face every time I see your face, bro.
It's true because man, like, and it was like that before, even like when we do shows together or shows at the same time, and we're like, oh, what's up, bro?
Word.
And because it was like. It was Mad Row back in the day, man, and I still remember you guys would come out and Kid Illa would always go Mad Row. You guys' entrance would be all freaking hella dope, dude.
Yeah, those are good times, man. It's funny because that's obviously where, especially up in Boise and stuff, where people got to know us. We Mad Row, we started 98 was when we started as a group. I was actually living in Dallas, Texas at that time, and I came up here. I was in a group down there called the Bricklayers down in Dallas doing music, and it was actually I was actually working on my fourth album at that time. Like I put out my first album in '91, man.
That's crazy, dude.
So I moved up here in '90. I moved back up here. I mean, I was in Twin Falls is where I put out my first. That's where people know us from like way back when from. Soul Lingo days, and we had, we were doing stuff back then with Lighter Shade of Brown, with Rocky Padilla, Slow Pain. We were doing the Thump Records tour, all the lowrider, shows and stuff back then. And then, and it's funny because I met Chris, Mad Row, right? Chris, and I think I want to say like '94. We were up here. We came up to do a rap contest, and because they always had rap contests like I want to say the Brick House or something. I don't know. Maybe somewhere different, Brickyard or something. Somewhere in like Nampa or something. And then Bogies, of course, always through that annual. Battle of the Bands.
Bogies was the spot too, man. I remember that.
Yeah. We helped develop that, right? So we started once things started turning for us. Like we started paving the way. We started bringing big names out, and that was still in the '90s, bro. Like I brought out. Who we bring out first? I think it would have been Tone Loc and Candyman I think that would have been like 99.
Knocking the Boots.
It was 99, and then we brought Digital Underground. We brought Mix a Lot. We brought a lot of them, man. We brought Young MC.
Yeah, I remember when Young MC came through. Didn't y'all do a song together or something?
Yeah. So he's still a good friend of mine. Yeah, we worked together a lot. So I did one with him. Yeah. So whenever I broke off and went solo, and then I moved back to LA and started working with them in a whole different camp. So
So speaking of working with certain people, it's funny that like that we've all kind of came together, like how we have, because Arturus of Mad Row, when we were younger, we both grew up in Caldwell, right?
Yeah.
And when we were younger, we had a singing group together, bro.
Word?
Yeah.
What was it?
I can't even
Undercover Brothers?
I can't even remember what we called ourselves, because it was me, another dude named Marcus Archuleta, which is
how do I know that name?
Steve Archuleta's little brother.
Okay.
MC Shake. So you remember Shake?
You know what's funny, dude? So I was on this show a few years ago, Boise Radio, with Todd Dunnigan, and he last time he got all the Mavro back together, and we sat in this room and we were talking about the history of hip hop, of Idaho hip hop, and this debate came out about who was the first actual MC, and it's like, okay, well, that's kind of a vague term because there was cats rapping well before probably even I moved. I don't know, I moved up here in '84, and I was a b-boy when I moved up. I came up from Riverside, is where I'm from, and but I didn't actually start like rapping until like '89. And then I put out my first album in '91. So this debate came. So the rules, basically, the guidelines we put down to see who was the first actual MC, like hip hop artist. Right? You had to have not only been not just a rapper, not just doing even shows. You had to be a rapper. You had to be doing shows. You had to actually have an album out. And Todd was working with MC Shake back then, '91. So there's this debate whether Reddy, and it was Reddy G back then, but whether it was Reddy G or MC Shake. Yeah. I got mad respect for Shake, dude. Yeah. But I know that Chris, he talks about a group called Undercover Brothers. I didn't know if that's what it was or not. Or
I can't remember what we called ourselves. That might have been it. Yeah.
Who knows? It might not be. It might be.
Yeah, because we did a lot of covers. We did like Boys to Men. We did like Riff was out back in the day. We did like New Edition covers. Yeah, man. We would sit and practice like all the time, man. Freaking.
That's dope.
And for me, like the last thing I told Chris, I was like, the last thing I remember, because it's my childhood, like is always like a vague memory, dude. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Yeah. So I was telling Arcturus that I was like, dude, the last thing I remember was thinking, well, there's no way I can ever actually be a front singer or anything, man. And I was like, I just told myself the truth. I'm like, maybe you should try another outlet, you know what I'm saying? Even though I still, I love to sing, you know what I mean? You can catch me in the shower Monday through Friday, you know what I'm saying?
Shit, dude, that shower, I'm telling you, man.
You know what I'm saying?
For real, I'd sign myself in the shower, but that's, that's about the size of it.
Like Tevin Campbell, that's how he got discovered. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He was singing in the shower, and I think...
Recorded himself?
No, somebody heard him. His mom was part of like a record label where she was friends with some execs or something like that. And I can't remember who it was that heard him or something singing in the shower, but like they wanted to introduce him to Prince or whatever. And then that's when Prince freaking came in and started helping him out. But yeah, he was just singing in the shower, bro. And they're like, who's that?
Shit. You know? I start singing in the shower and things start falling off the walls, and and then next thing you know, you're like, damn, yeah, dogs, the neighbors' dogs going there, like, shit, ready to back in the shower.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's such a crazy deal. I'm glad that you started talking about the whole Mad Row thing, man, because, I mean, it was you guys back in the day, and like I said, we kind of had our own little different crowds, and like how you say, there's been a debate like who the Chicano artists were that came up out here, and it's not us, you know what I mean? Because for us, it's just whatever. Like we just did the music for the music, but they deemed us the Chicano hip hop, for the 208.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! No, I remember. It was funny because whenever I came back, and obviously I knew you guys before I left Mad Row. Yeah. But then whenever I came back with the Ready Starr, the More Than Ready tour, I came back with Bash and with Coolio and those guys doing my stuff. I remember coming back through, and I'm like, damn, and I was stopped by the Music Monster. And they're like, these cats, this. And I was like, yeah, I know these cats, And it started. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to see, from between you guys, between like, Bone and
Untouchable.
Yeah, the Untouchables, exactly, between all them. I mean, there's so many young cats, Lil Chris back then was just this little little cat back then, and now, now he's a good friend of mine. I love watching people grow, and I think that myself anyways, dude, those early 2000s to like, 2010, like that era, for me, 2000 to 2010 was really, really an imperative, as a hip hop historian, especially in the Northwest. Dude, that was like a very important era for Idaho hip hop, because it's not just Boise, right? It's obviously Untouchables, Down Twin, and cats all. I mean, there's cats all over the state, but you guys definitely are godfathers, bro. And I love it, man.
I remember one time we did this show where it was kind of a old school, like type of thing. Like it was like old. I think it was called like old school something, old school jam or something. And they had a few of us old school artists come through, and they wanted us to headline, and there was some young cats, some Chicano rapper young cats that came through too, and one of the cats was like, man, it's good to meet you. He's like, I think he said that his dad had our tape, and that he had heard of us like that. And he's like, man, you guys are legends, man. You guys are legends. And I was like, well, there's two things I'm not ready to be called yet. One is grandpa, and the other one is a legend, because both of them mean, I feel like, especially when you say legend, I always feel like I should have like the freaking long gray beard and the staff. You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
But
yeah, no doubt, dude. It's legends better than what I've heard lately. So yeah, Illa came to me, because we got a couple bands. We've got a couple projects we're working on right now, from Hot and Heated, obviously, and then we've got Best Kept Secret, and then we have another band called Blunt Truck and the Baby Makers, and then I've got this country band that I'm in, not with Illa, but separately, that's called Shotgun Junction. Anyways, we're doing this Blunt Truck and the Baby Makers, and he's like, dude, we gotta make a song addressing the new title for us. I'm like, well, what's that title? He's like, dude, everyone calling us dinosaurs.
Oh,
dinosaurs. Man. I'm like, hey, that's not that bad of a thing. I don't give a shit, dude. It's, the thing is big, strong, powerful, been around for a long time. The thing is, you can call me whatever you want, dude. Just call me.
Yeah, just call me relevant. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good to me, dude. I mean, it's, the good thing about it, dude, is through my career, and I've been blessed, bro. I mean, I truly have, you know what I'm saying? I'm a kid that comes from absolutely nothing, 5 of us kids sharing a mattress whenever I was a kid, in a trailer with no electricity, no running water, no nothing, dude. We bathed out of a canal, and, music's taken me. I've toured all the U.S., I've toured Germany, I've toured Spain, I've toured the U.K. Like, people can call me whatever they want, dude, as long as that there's still people, gravitating towards your music. I've been so blessed with big names, people that I grew up just really idolizing, on a national scene, and, mentoring me and helping me kind of grow through all this. That it's never bothered me. I remember whenever I came back from the More Than Ready tour, we moved back up here because I had a daughter and didn't want to raise her in L.A. So I brought her up here when she was like 6 weeks old, and run into some hater, and he's like, oh, Ready, Starr. And he's like, dude, what's up? And he's kind of clowny. He's like, what are you doing back here? I said, I moved back here. He's like, oh, really? And he's like, dude, I thought you blew up. I thought you made it, And he was saying it as a joke, and he's like, man, where's your big houses? Where's your mansions, bro? Where's all this shit? It's like all the shit that you guys talk. I'm like, first of all, I've never talked shit. Right? You're not going to hear me put out records about blinging. Right? I've always kept it real, but at the same time, I just had to smile to myself, because I'm like, dude, you have no idea, like, honestly, and nothing to do with them. For me, dude, how rich I am just in experience and the opportunity for kids coming from nothing. And, I'm putting music in the right place. I know whenever I was talking to Navarro here, we were talking a few weeks ago at the hip hop holiday that Joey put on down there in Twin, and, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart whenever I told him, I'm like, dude, the reason I love his stuff is no matter what he's singing, no matter what he's doing, dude, it's always coming from the right place, and that's the one thing that at the end of the day, dude, when people are talking over my eulogy, I just hope that people that really know recognize the same thing. There's like, that dude always kept it real, always talked from the right place. If if there's something,
and you've impacted, even people as young as Navarro too. I'm gonna have Navarro sing off camera, but go ahead and hit him with that.
Eating sugar sandwiches, playing paperball, no more wearing
yeah.
hand-me-downs when I'm walking past the mall. 'Cause we live in the good life, and it's every single day. This'll be the last time I ever struggle.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude, I need to get you on stage with me, bro. For real. That's awesome.
Yeah, when Navarro started singing that to me the other day, I was like, "What?" I was like, "I didn't know you."
Can I tell you a story of that song real quick? I'll make it fast.
Yeah, no. I was gonna lead to that too. So
what's funny again, and if you look up any of my history, I'm sure there's enough bios out there and stuff. You can see kind of where we come from or whatever, right? I'm actually, people don't know, but I'm actually Native American, so I'm a registered Oglala Sioux Indian, and we grew up in Southern California, and my mom used some of that to help us out, welfare, and then and stuff from from tribal help that would help us. But for the most part, man, my mom's she's had handicaps since she was born. She raised 5 kids. Deadbeat dads coming and going. I never met my dad. I met him later in life, but didn't meet him growing up or whatever. Anyways, man, we moved to Idaho. We that song, as I was starting to make music and as Mad Rose started blowing up, we had a record that hit Billboard Top 100. And when that started happening and we started touring and radio stations were playing us across the country and things were happening, right, I was still getting phone calls from my sisters. And I remember one night, middle of the night, I got a phone call from my sister and she was having a real rough night. She was basically just telling me goodbye, saying she was going to end her life that night. And, and I talked her through that, and anyways, man, I thought, I need to write to them, right? So I wrote that song. Like, that song is just as authentic as can be. We started kind of putting this hook together. We were at Knock on Wood Records, we were up in Seattle, up at their house at like a 4th of July party, and Chris and I are sitting there banging out this beat that he was working on, and he started, he's like, listen to this piano riff. Todd played this thing. Todd Dunnigan played this thing from start to finish, and we started listening. So we started like just humming out this, this hook, right? And he knows I'm always talking about, I grew up by the Tyler Mall down in Riverside, so that's the mall that we're referring to. I grew up walking by that mall and stuff. So we put this hook together, and then as we later on, few months later, we ended up breaking up as a band, kind of a unfortunate breakup, but as we broke away, Chris like, hey dude, I don't even, that music's, that's all you take it, right? So I finished that song and never intended for it to come out, never intended to share that with anyone, definitely didn't intend for that to be the album title, right, for my album. I was I don't know if you remember way back in the day, but 93.1.
And that's Sugar Sandwiches.
Yeah, Sugar Sandwiches.
Just for people if they didn't hear us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So Sugar Sandwiches is the name of the song and the name of the album. But do you remember Carlos, the prize guy from 93.1? You may not, but he was relevant whenever we were getting radio play, 93.1 and Kiss FM back in the day when they were blowing us up. Well, Carlos moved and went out to Louisville, Kentucky, and was program director out there, I believe.
Nice.
At Kiss FM out there, and so he's like, dude, I want to break your record, right? So Paradise was breaking, so I was flying from LA to Louisville, and I'm sitting there with my headphones on, and there's this old lady next to me. This is how that song became relevant, because I'm sitting there listening, and she's like, I could see her in the corner of my eye the whole time wanting to talk to me, but I was deep writing music and stuff, and finally I took a break. She's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, you live in Louisville? I'm like, no, I'm just going out there on work. But what do you do? And I said, well, I'm actually a recording artist. I said, they're breaking my record this weekend, on the radio station. And she's like, really? Oh my God. And she's like, do you have any music? And I said, yeah, you can find my stuff. She's like, is that one of your songs? I said, yeah. Well, can I listen to it? I was like, sure. It wasn't anything I was going to put out. I gave it to this lady's probably 60s, 70s.
Wow.
I give her my headphones, and like halfway through the song, she just starts bawling. Right? And she's just crying her eyeballs out. And then she's like, I grew up just like that, And then I got there, and it kind of stuck on me, just her reaction. So I was talking to Carlos, and we had a couple of other people while we were there at Kiss FM. I showed them the song. They started crying. And everyone was like, dude, that's exactly how I grew up. And then the more people I showed, whenever I got back to L.A., I was like, So I showed a few people the song, and the reaction was pretty similar, with most of the people I showed the song to. And I was like, maybe there's something here that's bigger than me, right? And that's what music is, right? There's stuff bigger than you. So I decided to, what's funny is that record was done through Capitol Records. So if you look on the back, Capitol actually, I'm sorry, no, Universal. I toured with Capitol, but Universal Records actually mastered the record. And the guy who mastered, the guy's won like 17 Grammys. And Young MC was the reason I was in this studio getting it mastered from this guy. And the song that Young MC did with me, which was Paradise, was so perfect, according to what he said, that he couldn't do anything even in mastering. He's like, this is only the second record I've ever gotten that I couldn't do anything to it. He said, but the problem is the rest of your album, the quality of the rest of the album, especially this song, Sugar Sandwiches, is so low quality. He's like, you're going to have to take that song off this album. I'm like, well, we may have a problem, because I've decided that's what my album is going to be called. That's the title for the whole album. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, like, that song, the quality of that song is, it wasn't bad. For something, you're putting out locally, it's
Yeah.
fine. But whenever you're putting stuff out in, you know, international
Internationally.
release and stuff, right? It's got to hit certain thresholds. And
Yeah.
so he had to do a lot of work to get that thing to even sound good, and it dummied down the rest of my record, but it was important enough. So
Yeah.
I love the fact that you singing that, bro. That song's that's as real as it gets, right? So
Yeah, man. That's one of the things too. Is I always say, like, at the end of the day, it's not about, it's not about the money. It's not about anything. It's about. So one time I got this piece of fan mail, man, and on the album we did called Por Vida, there's a song called Tristeza, means sadness, right?
yeah,
And that song was written for my little brother that passed away. And that was one of those joints that's like, when you sit down and it's just like the pen just takes over.
it's
like,
freaking happy,
yeah,
right? So
there's like,
organic.
you look back at at your pen and paper and like, there's no scribbles. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no,
Yeah,
let's change that. Let's change that.
Word.
It's just like one of those. And we got this piece of fan mail that said, hey, I just lost my cousin. It was really hard for me. He was like, I was at the record store. For all you youngsters, there used to be this place that you could go where you could like pick up like a piece of plastic that had another piece of plastic in it called a CD, and you could put it inside this machine and it would play music. But
I'm still sitting on like 4,000 of those. I got to get rid of. So
what
yeah,
I'm
I'm with you.
saying? But yeah, no. So he said that he was in a record store because back then we had what was it, Sam Goody, FYE, Music Land, Hastings. You know what I'm saying?
And of course, the record exchange.
Yeah, record exchange.
Word.
Yeah, locally, man, they would always show love, huh? Like no matter what you roll up.
John at the record exchange, man. And I know he's still around, but shout out to that dude.
Yeah, for sure.
He looked out for local forever.
Big time, and he didn't like. He let like our stuff just mixed in too. Like when we first started hitting or whatever, dropping singles or whatever, he wasn't like local artist,
Right, exactly.
If you wanted to know, yeah, or if you wanted
right
to
in
be
the hip hop section.
yeah,
exactly.
right in the hip hop
Yep.
section. That's
Straight
where,
up.
you know what I mean? But
Unlike Hastings.
yeah, no, and it was funny because the deal that we had was a distribution deal, so ours got mixed in.
So
with
yeah,
regular
myself
too.
as well. Yeah,
yours-
down
you
in
guys did too.
Houston, the Houston version of Hastings, so they put it in. So it's I'm with you.
Yeah.
But for local, a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't have that
and
luxury.
What was cool though too, man, is freaking like you could say, go down to your local record store or whatever, and for people to actually have that, tangible physical form of your music was cool. Like for me still, man, if artists are selling a CD or whatever, man, I'll try to swoop it because there's nothing better than having that piece of, especially like I remember back in the day, one of my favorite things was to open up the CD case and see if it had the lyrics in there.
Straight up.
See who was involved with the writing, if the actual, artists were doing the writing and stuff like that. But yeah, so this cat, he said that he had lost his cousin and that he was at the record store, and he said for some reason he came across our album. He said he picked up the CD and he looked at it and he's like, like I'm gonna check this out. Like he hadn't heard it of us at all.
Yeah.
But he just swooped the freaking album, and he said most of it was because of the title of that song. Well, he said he started listening to it, and he said he started breaking down, and he said that's what got him through all the hardships of losing his cousin. And I wrote him back and I said, if we never make $1 million, or if we only make $1, like that's worth it all right there. Like that's
Amen, my brother.
That's what we're doing it for. You know, what I
straight
mean?
up. No, you're exactly right, dude. That's the best, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. If you're out enough, I mean, there's those stories one at a time, right? If it's just like you said, if it's just one, or if you touch one person's life, dude, and really made an impact in one person's life, dude, you've changed the world. You've changed that person's world, which is the world to that person. So you've changed the world. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's honestly, I think that's my biggest drive.
It's it's what do you call it? It goes back and forth. You know what I mean? Like as an artist, it's the same. It changes our world too, because you're like, okay, now I know that I'm affecting people in this way or whatever. So one time, me and Howie Spangler, the lead singer from Ballyhoo, we were talking about just our experiences and stuff as being artists. And one of the things that we both were like, right, bro, right, is the very first time where you look out in the crowd and they're singing your like singing along with you, singing your jam.
Hell yeah.
Like you don't know this person from Adam, you know, and they're like singing your words, lyric for lyric, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
and those are the things that came from your heart and your mind, you know what I mean? And you got people that you don't know, like singing those things, you know, and especially when it comes to a song that, you know, it's heartfelt or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
a big one for me too, is being able to touch people like that. And then like seeing people sing your song or having people sing your song, just like, you know, Navarro over here, when he starts singing Sugar Sandwiches, you know, it's
so it's so true, right? I woke up one morning. I was living in LA. It was a while ago, right back when a record was breaking, when Sugar Sandwich album was breaking, and I had some pretty heavy hitters in the industry working for me, right, and helping me build momentum. We had the record on like 750 stations all across the world, right, and so I was getting weekly data points on where we were at and this cool stuff, right? But you know, so life is moving fast, but it's funny because all it takes is one small thing to kind of stop you real quick and remind you what you're doing this stuff for, right? I'm sitting there, and I was living in LA. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, 5 o'clock in the morning in LA is 8 o'clock in the morning in New York, and my phone starts blowing up. I look down, it says 45. That's all that was on my phone. That was a phone number, 45. So I was like, you know, ignore. Then it goes again, 45. I'm like, ignore. The third time, it's like 45. I was like, what the hell? So I'm like, hello? You know, and they're like, hey, you know, this is I don't remember their names, but the morning host for Shady 45. Oh, wow. So it was Sirius at the time, Sirius Satellite, and he's like, hey, we've got your record here, we're about to break your record. He's like, do you have a minute? He's like, we're breaking it on a show that we call we call it the Don't Quit Your Day Job. And and I was like, okay. And he said, no. He's like, dude, we're listening to it. He said, I don't know if the version that they sent us is great. He said, it's a little bit grainy. I'm going to be real with you. He said, the version, he said, I don't know why. He said, I'm sure the album's not grainy, right? And I said, no, not at all, dude. I said, can I send anyone? Well, we don't have time for that. He's like, but if you're cool, he's like, just stay on with us. You're going to be on for about an hour. He's like, he said, and this is how it works. Basically, we play the record, and then people hit back, and they say, yeah, quit your day job or don't quit your day job, right? And
it's like, what do you call it? The slam it or jam it or whatever.
Something, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there like, oh, we'll put you on hold. And the only person that I could think of that I knew that had Sirius at the time was my DJ, who was up in Idaho. Sam, you know Sam, right? Mm-hmm. So I call Sam, and I'm blowing him up, and it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. There he's like, hello, and I was like, dude, you got to turn on Sirius Satellite right now. I said, they're breaking Paradise. He's like, what? And I said, yeah. And it's like, I mean, it sucked because there's, for me, my circle, there's no one I could call. I'm just like, so I call Sam. He's like, okay, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, that's dope. He's like, all right, I'm going to record that shit, right? So anyways, I'm sitting there, and they come back on, and they play the record, and then for the next hour, you're just having people talk to you, right? And I mean, it got like really good reviews except one dude, and this one dude gets on there, and he's like, yeah, quit. He said, don't quit your day job. And they're like, okay. And they're like, and the lady's like, well, that's kind of, that's interesting because, she said, what, why do you say that? And he's like, well, because first of all, they'd interviewed me a few times asking about me. So I'm telling about myself and she's like, well, what don't you like about it? Well, she's like, you don't think it's a good song? She's like, oh no, it's a good song. He's like, but listen, man, what's a 30-something-year-old black man doing, trying to still make a music career where it sounds like he's had all these bands and stuff, and he's like, it's at this point, he's like, dude, give it up. He's like, go out and get a real job. You're making black men look bad. And they both start laughing. They're like, well, first of all, just to let you know, Reddy's not black, but second of all, they're like, can I just ask you a question? Like, were you a rapper at one time? And he's like, yeah, I was a rapper. He's like, yeah, but I gave that up. He's like, no, I produce, and they're like, okay, wait a sec. So because you didn't make an impact, because you couldn't get it done, because you didn't make a difference in people's lives.
It's all hating already.
You weren't ready to quit. And then he's like, well, you put it that way, and it was kind of funny, because you look at like the opposite of like, you see people who don't know what that's like to put something out and, and actually affect people's lives or get good feedback. Like you said, man, you get one person. I've been so blessed with so many, not sounding wrong, but I truly have, right? With so many testimonies and letters and stuff. I mean, all the way from Russia, from like all over the place, from Japan. I had a pretty big following in Japan.
Yeah, Japan, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like they love us out there, man.
Dude, yeah, and then, man, we sent out like 500 albums, and but I got bootlegged out there, and they ended up selling like 40-something thousand albums, but I didn't get paid.
It's so hard too. It's so hard to kind of wrangle that stuff, especially
it's
out of
tough.
the country. But
it's tough. Even overseas, I went to the UK. I was up for an Artist of the Year award like 2007, I think, and so I flew out to London, and I get out there and like, hey, great news. You've been blowing up on iTunes and stuff. And they're like, and I get like 56 cents a download, right? And he's like, yeah, we got just in the last 3 months, you're at 40 something. I think it was like 42,000 downloads, and on iTunes. And I'm like, so I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, cool, I can leave here with a 20 grand check. That'll help me for a minute, So I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, all right, well, you can break that check. Well, we got to wait for, you got to wait 3 months for that to flip over. So we got to transfer
from the savings to the...
I never saw a penny from that, bro. I left there. He showed me the numbers. I never saw nothing from it. So.
Yeah, man. It gets like that in the music industry too, man.
It's a tough, it's fun to make music, bro. And let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Most of the people that we know that we rub elbows with on a regional scale, I'm not talking just locally, I'm talking regionally, right? And probably nationally. Right. I mean, there's a stat that actually says it. So 1% of actual artists will ever make a month's wage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's a year's wage. Will ever make a year's wage. 1% of artists will ever make money back. Right. So most of your rewards don't come from that. Right. It's a tough business, dude. It's, there's a lot of ways to make music in the business, but, you got to be innovative. I know, like, you look at these cats, our boys, doing shit on TikTok and stuff. I mean, that's dope. It's good to see people breaking new grounds and seeing how to push that stuff, right? For me, I mean, if that door opened up, that'd be awesome. But for me, I think I'm too far in the game to really be. I mean, to me, I'm still wanting just interaction. And
the way we did it was a way different concept. I think I've talked about that before, where like back in the day, we had to put in the footwork. Like we had to be out there talking to the MDs and the PDs and
street teams all over the place.
Yeah,
dude. If there's a record, if there's a radio station pick my stuff up, I mean, I'd call like Louisville, or let's say Shreveport, Louisiana, because that's really happened, right? I call them up and I'm like, hey, I'm heading through town, want to stop by and say what up whenever we're down there. Here's my record. It's been blowing up, and luckily I had it in channels that they could see it at, it's, and they're like, okay, well, let me see. You said I've got it on, on New Music Server. Yeah, look at New Music Server. And you tell them the record, like, okay, I see it right here. Yeah, check that out. I'm going to be down there in 2 weeks. Can I stop by and say hi? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, after I get off the phone, I got to figure out how to get to Shreveport now, right? I wasn't really heading anywhere near that direction, but I got a radio station that's biting, so I'd take off, And
you jumped in the hoopty, and it was like no air conditioning or nothing in Louisiana. Like, what the hell?
Slinging records all the way down there, the Walmart tour, right? Stop at Walmart, sit out there with the
parking lot.
Yeah, we
always
had,
pimping.
We had vehicles that were wrapped up, and so people would be like, oh, who are you? Traffic stops, or jams, you're on the freeway in LA, and people come up, who's this?
Yeah,
that's us. You got $10 to give you a record.
For real, dude.
Hustling, man.
I was just gonna say too, and you're right, man, about like, the kickbacks that come to the artist, because, I mean, like how you said, we've been toured with. I don't want to say names right now because I don't want to but
it's all good, yeah.
Like household names, you know what I'm saying, that people would know right now.
Mad respect, dude. I'll throw names out there, shit, dude. I've worked with Eminem, I've worked with Snoop, I've worked with LL Cool J, I've worked with, dude,
and we're still,
dude. I've worked with a ton of cats, and they're still, Wu-Tang, shit, dude. RZA gave me the best advice anyone gave me. We sat there for an hour to the point that Method Man finally came up and said, dude, are you two gonna kiss? Or are you gonna just, are we gonna stand here and freaking, you gonna make out? Are we gonna get this over with and get on? And we got, got some smoking to do, right? Or whatever he's,
or like, and you think, it does seem like a lavish lifestyle, but then they're like, hey, let's go get something to eat, and we're rolling through like McDonald's getting, like,
shit, I can't afford the number 5.
Yeah, just give me 2 McDoubles or whatever.
I'll split an 8 with you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They got this shit. I'm a $3 bundle specialist, man.
Up, man.
Word, no, it's real, right? Keeping it real. And the thing is I've never been one to floss, right? I mean, I've had decent cars. I drove a nice, drop top BMW forever. I love that car. I drive a nice truck right now, but dude, most of my money, I mean, I've had some years that did okay. I really have, but that's not really relevant, right? I've had a couple years where, you get with, I right after we toured, Dante Thomas, right? I think I heard you guys talk about him before and stuff. So
me and Dee been friends for a long time, man.
So Dante and I Dante had a record that, that blew up. Dante lived on my couch for a while, right? So just a little while, but him and I were going through some stuff really funny. Him and I still laugh about this little period of time, but we went to Germany. He was, it was all about Dante. We were in Germany for a record he was breaking, and he was there with Capitol, and Capitol, Frank, his A&R, really took a liking to me and said, hey, bring Reddy out here. This would be great for Reddy, right? So I got to spend 5 weeks going everywhere in Germany with Dante Thomas and meeting radio stations like crazy or whatever, But it's funny because the whole time, dude, I'm like, you sure you don't mind me staying on that extra bed in your hotel room? Because, it's like, dude, I'm broke the whole way. But you come back from something like that, and there's sometimes, things go okay, right? And you get paid, when a period of time where I got a pretty good amount of money for shows and stuff. But, I tell a lot of young cats, especially cats blowing up, because there's a lot of talent in this world, dude. There's a lot of young cats, and, and it's like, look, if you are blessed enough to have a little, a lucrative little period of time, make sure that that's not going to last forever. Yeah. Young MC, man, him and I were talking one day because he really mentored me. He spent a lot of time mentoring me, and we were down in Hollywood just having a chicken sandwich at his favorite chicken sandwich joint down there on Sunset, and we're sitting there and he's like, Reddy, I want to give you some advice. He's like, because he knew that this record was going to blow up. He's like, dude, he said, you're going to get a little bit of money coming up here. And he said, whenever you do, he said, dude, my advice, dude, he's like, don't freaking spend a penny. He's like, you do what you have to day by day, and my mistake coming up whenever my stuff was really starting to bubble, dude, is I wasn't good enough at spending time getting sponsors and getting people to pay for my shit. I was doing everything out of pocket. Yeah.
I remember
More Than Ready Tour here, dude, that I did at Taco Bell Arena. That was $64,000. That show cost me, myself, and my Annie Vet, who put in, a little bit of money to help me out with that. She put in.
But it was banging, man. You guys billboarded it up and everything, man.
Yeah, I had billboards like Portland, Tri-Cities. We did them here in Boise, obviously. I did like 6 billboards. Yeah, I mean, it's, you do what you got to when things are happening.
I mean, that's important. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And the reality of it is I built friendships in the industry through that. I mean, that last me forever. RBX, my boy RBX, he was on tour with me, came out here. Well, he said, they've got a new album coming out, him and Dog Pound and Lady of Rage and stuff. They got some new stuff coming out. And when they do, it's hopefully I'm part of that, right? Bringing them out here. And Coolio, rest his soul, right? That's, my guy, right? He's, good friend, became a good friend through that stuff. It's like, sometimes you gotta invest, you gotta sacrifice, and it, you can't just throw money at it. I see a lot of young, I just met some guy, I won't even say his name, dude, but some little, some guy hustling lately, doing, booking shows and stuff. And people don't get it, right? They're doing things the wrong way, burning people as they go along. They're looking at it for the wrong stuff. You're like, okay, dude, cool. I ain't got time. I ain't going to talk about it, and I ain't going to worry about it, but I also ain't going to call that dude back. Or if he's got something going on, we've had a lot of shows.
Yeah, burn bridges and you're done.
There's some cats. I'll tell you a couple cats I'll never work with again. PD Pablo, that dude, man. I mean, there's just people out there that, for real, they throw themselves under the bus. Yeah. But then you look at cats like my boy Bash, Baby Bash, one freaking real good friend of mine. And, dude, I've seen him. I knew him when he was Baby Beesh. Yeah. Whenever, JT from Into Deep, right? We did record with him as well, right? So from Frost, all those cats, you see these cats and they kept it real. And the cats like yourself, bro, in all honesty, man, the cats like yourself that have always been real, always been authentic, you know what I'm saying? Through, I've never felt bad. Man. I've never felt bad energy from you, bro. And I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I show, I wear my heart on my sleeve, dude. And, and if I'm telling you I love you, bro, it's because I truly mean it. And I love you, bro, for real.
Hey, man, you got mad love for me too, bro. Just like I said, man, when we just saw each other at this, this benefit show,
Yeah.
It was like, what's up, man? Like the love is always there, man. And that's what, I appreciate that about, like, the accolades that you have, you know what I'm saying, and you still like down to earth dude, you know what I mean? Like that's important. You know what I mean?
It is, dude. Like honestly, at the end of the day, man, we're all just people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
sure.
saying? And I mean, it's if you're blessed enough to meet people who you look up to and to and actually interact with them, dude, then don't take that lightly. Let that be part of your story, and you grow from that. So I've also kind of learned, even though I don't spend my life dropping names. I mean, I could probably I've been blessed. I could continue dropping names all day long. It doesn't matter, right? The thing is the blessings that many of those people have put in my life have helped me to grow into a more mature. I'd say wiser, but that's a strong word, right? It's I'm working.
Still
for
working
wisdom,
on
right?
it. You still got a lot to learn.
Exactly.
That's
Dude,
what
a
I
work in
feel too,
progress,
man.
but at the same time, like what a blessing, man. So
Hey,
thank
man.
you very much for having me here.
Yeah,
tonight,
no,
today, bro.
I wanted to say thanks to Ready Starr came and blessed me with this vinyl of Paradise, man. What do we got? And the instrumental. I was just talking about that, dude. Like how all the singles used to come with instrumentals.
Word.
And I can't remember who I was talking to about. They're like, "What instrumental?" I'm like, yeah, like back in the day, you could get like a new edition 45 or whatever, or whoever it was. Like Nucleus would drop a single, and then they would always have like the remix, the radio edit, and then always the instrumental where you could like rap over it or sing over it or whatever.
Or for DJs, obviously they can work that in and cut it right for real cast working 1200s or whatever they're working on.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, man, bringing this
next
in.
time I come, if you invite me back at another time, next time I come, I'll bring some Mad Row vinyl.
Oh,
damn. We've still got Mad Row vinyl. I've got, for real. Old school.
What do you got going on now, man? Let's talk about some new projects you got going on.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, I've got an album that's coming out. So I've been working on this for quite a while. I really have like 2 albums worth of material, but this one's a really personal album for me. It's we still haven't dialed in the name of the album. It's going to be one of 2 names, either Pie in the Sky or it's going to be Stars and Stripes. But it's a deep album. It's not going to disappoint. We've got a few things that we're waiting to be able to. We got to cut some videos and stuff on this, but so it's my sophomore Ready Starr album, Hot and Heated. We have our album coming out. We've been working like crazy. As you guys heard some of our stuff, but we've that's been such a fun project. So I don't know what we're gonna call the album. We keep going back and forth. Some of the names I'm just chuckling at, and some of so we'll figure it out. It'll just fall in. It'll become organic. But dude, been working with Illa, with Contrast, with JT, and then myself.
I always call him Senor Contrast. Love that guy, man.
Yeah, I love those guys, right? And then like I said, man, I've got this country album that's like it's a rock country album, dude.
I want to know about that.
Whenever we're done here, I'll show you some stuff, dude, because you're gonna dig it, bro. It's like, right? Yeah, I've got a brother who's just a phenomenal freaking guitarist, and he actually came up with like Rob Zombie tribute band type of stuff, and so we've been doing that. I'm just up to my chin in music, dude, and just a lot of projects coming out.
It doesn't leave our system, man. It's just like one of those things. It stays in there. It's like an infection, you know what I'm saying?
Word. And then at the same time, dude, I've got I'm raising kids and just trying to be the best I can be as a father, and trying to make sure that I'm present, and that my kids know that they're loved, and know that they're looked out for, and doing the best I can to try to give them the tools that they're going to need to.
And you're teaching them about hard work too, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not easy being a husband, a father, and an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like all those things are like, you put them all together, man, and it becomes rough, a lot of the time. Yeah. So to be able to juggle those things and to manage those things is admirable, dude.
And in the summertime, I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I fish tournaments, and we're gonna really step it up now. We're pushing up. I'm hopefully gonna get a guide license pretty quick here. I'm working on getting an outfitter guide license, and so fishing for the Idaho State team, representing our state nationally, and just that stuff geeks me out, bro. Like, it's so fun.
Man, I need to, so as a kid, that used to be my favorite pastime, like, and then just up until about 10 years ago, I used to love to fish, but the last real fishing I did was up in Alaska, where I was up for the run.
Yeah.
And dude, that was like,
that's on my bucket list. I ain't done that yet.
So there's no way to describe it. So along my way or whatever, I don't know if you know, but I used to fight MMA as well.
Yeah,
too, right?
I do.
So the very first king that I caught, I was just out on the grates right there on the Kenai River, and I was by myself, bro. Like I was so freaking like ready to go fish that like I didn't wait for nobody. Like I just went and swooped my license. You know, you can just go buy your 7-day license or your 14-day or whatever over there.
Yeah.
And I caught my first king, and I was on the grates, and I didn't know that these suckers are so big.
You get like 60, 80
bro,
pounds. They get like, I mean, you catch a ton of them like 40 to 50 pounds from what I hear.
Bro, I was running across the grate, bro, running back, trying to freaking wrangle this bad boy in, and freaking, dude, when I got him close enough to where I thought I could, you know, pull him up onto the grate, no, I would have broke the pole, dude. But luckily enough, there was this dude. He was a local. He was down right below me and some waders. And he grabs my line and he grabs the fish and he takes it over and he bleeds it real fast. And I run down and, you know, thank him and everything. And I was like, hey, bro, I was like, so that was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. I said, I used to fight MMA and I never got that much adrenaline as I did when I just caught that fish, dude. So he was like, what? I was like, he's like, you mean you go and get ready to fight somebody, like, you know, in the ring, and that was more adrenaline to you than that? I was like, dude, it was crazy. But I ended up bringing back like 100 pounds of salmon back, and we had, I mean, Ash Navarro, dude, we invited all the homies. We did freaking caper salmon, we did salmon fingers, we did salmon cakes, we did, I mean,
Don't make me hungry, bro.
We went to salmon. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can get your stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. So definitely be checking into buymyvibe.com. So we've got a whole line of our apparel. We're definitely building up on that. It's a dope ass site. So, you know, just as this is so BUYMYVIBE, buymyvibe.com. You can check us out. Of course, we're on almost all platforms. I might come back on Twitter now. I'm not sure, but we're on, you know, I'm on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm on, it's two different things, kind of a funny story, but Ready Starr is an artist, and then Ready's with an S, Starr, and that's because whenever I tried to sign up as just a personal artist on there, they came back, said it was inappropriate, like I was a porn name or something like that, so they wouldn't let me put Ready Starr except as an artist. So you can catch me on either one of those. Follow me on Ready Starr, or you know, befriend me on Reddy's Starr, Instagram, you know, all
that's
of that.
That's pretty dope. Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Like I said, those are usually where I hang out. You know, whenever I'm out there, you definitely. I know we're gonna be doing a show New Year's Eve. We're booked all the time. So if you see something with either hot and heated music or Ready Starr, I'm most likely going to be there. So
all right, name the groups again one more time.
Thank you. So Hot and Heated, right? That's where we're staying the busiest right now. We've got Best Kept Secret. That's with Kind involved on that one. We've got Blunt Truck and the Baby Makers. That one you probably won't see as often. We're just gonna put out some campfire songs on that one, and then Shotgun Junction's my country band. So and Ready Starr. So
man. So
ladies
and gentlemen, one more time. Ready Starr, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.